What is up, YouTube? Salty Texas back with a total boat resin project. So, what are we doing in this video? As you can tell by the thumbnail and title, we are using total boat epoxy because I'm stepping up my resin game. So, got a half-gallon bottle of total boat epoxy, and I'm sure you've seen several other YouTubers use total boat epoxy. There are several different epoxies out there. This is the first time that I've ever been able to use Total Boat because I got my pressure pot fixed or set up, and that's what this project was all about. So here we are, mixed up some epoxy. This is about 16 ounces or so, if I can remember correctly. Blue dye, you can see all the bubbles, and boom, it's going into the pressure pot. So I have been for months now attempting to rig up my paint pressure pot to where it actually functions. Watched about a ton of YouTube videos and finally figured it out. So here we are, set it up to pressure, put it in the pressure pot for 24 hours, came back, took it out of the pressure pot. Now, go and watch a professional YouTuber that knows what the hell that they are talking about. I did not use the appropriate fixings or facets for this project, so do not use my method. So here we are, got it out of the lathe, or got it out of the pressure pot, and now we're just trying to pound out the actual mold. So the problem I had with this particular mold was it set up real good. The pressure pot totally did what it was designed to do, which was take out all those small bubbles. And my problem is, I guess maybe I didn't mix it well enough because it stuck to the side, and you can tell there it's all over my effing hands at that point. So second problem with this project, and this is going to come back to bite me in the ass a little bit later, used some Gorilla 5-minute epoxy to put some blocks of wood on the either end so I can make a tannin to get this spun down. Came back, put another top on it, and boom, here we are using the faceplate again. Starting to love the faceplate because that is really making everything a lot easier on some of these projects. Instead of having to take the time and make a tannin, you can just attach it and everything generally goes well. So second project using that and just screwing it on to the Nova Comet 2 MIDI lathe. So everything is set up in place, and I'm feeling pretty good about this project up to this point. So this part, we're just getting everything into the basic shape like we do with all of our other projects. I was going to use my new carbide tools that I just bought, but as you'll see here in a little bit, I did pretty well with just my regular chisels that I had, just getting this into the general shape. So if you notice by the tailstock, that was essentially going to be the bottom of this little pot that I was going to do, but you'll see here in a little bit, we ran into some significant user error kind of problems. So here I am, once I got it spun down a little bit, making a tannin. Look how clean that looks, by the way. Awesome, right? So got it all hooked up, got everything going, everything's going smooth. I'm feeling really good about the project, gouged out the tannin, and up until this point I'm feeling pretty good about it. So then we come back, take the faceplate off of the blank because we learned our lesson from the last time we tried to do that. So then we're just screwing on the chuck and just reversing it on the lathe so we can start to gouge out the actual bowl to the shape that we want. And there's my shoddy camera work again. So got it all set up. Everything's going really well up into this point. So you can see where it's actually in the chuck. That was, like I said, going to be the bottom of the bowl. And everything's going good. We just got to get all of this material off. And at this point is when I first start striking the actual resin with the chisels. And I'm expecting there to be a lot of chipping because I've used epoxy in the past and have not had a lot of success. But this was the first one, and you can see the chipping right there. This was the first project that I actually got to use a pressure pot and some good quality resin. So I didn't want to sell myself short with this one, but everything, and you can see all the webbing coming off that. I'm sure there is a technical term for all of the resin coming off the lathe. I call it webbing because it looks like damn Spider-Man just, went in there and shot his load everywhere, but that's another story for another day. So got everything smoothed out, and I'm basically just making the shape of the bowl the way I want, getting everything whittled, not whittled, I say whittle on this channel all the damn time, get everything turned down the way that I want it to be. and I'm getting, you know, good material. You can see all the webbing that's spun off on the lathe, but everything's going smooth. And that's kind of scary on this channel, because if I'm having a smooth day on the lathe, you just know something inevitably is going to go wrong. So this is the final pass, and I'm trying to like shape the bowl to where it's an actual bowl or miniature pot at this point. And here I am, got all this Total Boat epoxy just gummed up on my lathe, and I was like, screw it, because I kept on just doing that, so I just let it ride, and it wasn't getting in the way, so I didn't bother to stop the lathe and actually take out all those parts. So here we go. So here I am, got everything reversed in the chuck, and then wait for it, boom! It just pops the hell off the lathe. I'm like, son of a bitch. So instead of getting aggravated, because I was really frustrated at that point, I had just enough material to make a tannin on the remaining portions of the blank. And thank God I did this, because if I didn't, I would have had to have waited to do it. So there you see that we, you know, made a tannin for it, put it in the chuck, and now I have to go back and reverse the shape of the bowl, because where the tannin is hooked into the chuck, that was going to be the top of the pot. So now I have to come back, take even more material off, and try to salvage this project the best I can. And for the most part we did, but damn it, every project that I do, something goes wrong. So this part really had me shook, because this is where I really thought I was going to have some problems, but this went very, very smooth. This epoxy is great to work with. You can see all the good webbing on it. I didn't have any catches, and anytime that I would have some chipping or some catches, very smooth, small strokes will take care of all of that. So we gouged at the bowl. This is the actual, this was going to be the bottom of the pot. So I decided, you know what, I have enough material here to where I can make a top or a lid for this pot. So we just used what we had, and essentially this ended up being a really good thing that happened, because I was able to make a top of it, and you can see right there, perfect fit. So here I am trying to do some voiceover work, but the mic wasn't working for some reason. I think it's gummed up with sawdust. So basically up into this point right here, I took 180 grit all the way up to 2000 grit, and I'm pointing to where I'm going to use the top of the pot. Micro mesh. Had these in the shop for like, or the garage, it's not even a shop. Had this in the garage for like 2 months, not 2 months, almost like 6-7 months. I ordered those. Been looking for a reason to use them. I've seen some other YouTubers use the micro mesh, and they're amazing. So up until this point, and we'll see where the polish comes in here in a little bit. So once I did the 2000 grit, I just used a micro mesh all the way up to the maximum level. Then I saw this on another YouTube channel where they used this fits epoxy. It's a plastic polish, and bam, look at that. You can see the cool polish on that. Look how cool that looks. I was really happy the way this is. And now you'll see the scratches on the inner portion of this project, and that was just me. I was really scared that the more I gouged out the sides of the wall with as much difficulty as I had initially, because I didn't want it to fly off the lathe. So I just basically just, you know, left the scratches in there. Hopefully in future projects we'll get a little bit better about that. So here we are using the buffer, and you'll see me fuck this up. Boom, right there. It flew the fuck out of my hand. I was really worried that I had done messed up the blank. So 5-second rule, picked it up real fast, tried to polish it out, but you can visually see a scratch on it. But overall, Total Boat epoxy, really good product. Really happy the way it turned out. You can see how cool this looks right here. And it was amazing. Great project. Loved working with the product. Highly suggest it. Amazing. Okay, project is done. And I would like to say, before we do the unveil, I don't think I can have a single project where the damn thing doesn't fly off the lathe. But I am becoming the king of rescuing these projects, because I don't know. Anyway, here we go. What? Check that out. So this is Total Boat epoxy, and I'm gonna say this: it's fucking amazing. I said it. It's fucking amazing. This is a great product to work with. I've worked with some other epoxies, but this is really good. Now, granted, there are some scratches on the inner portion of this cup, but that's on me. That's technique and not being able to gouge out the sides the way I wanted, because you saw earlier where it flew off the lathe, and I was really worried that I was going to catch the bottom of this and then just really fuck it up. So I'm going to say, as the first project out, using a pressure pot for the first time the way it was designed to do, and using this product for the first time, I'm very happy the way this turned out. Probably one of the coolest things I've done, and I left plenty of space here. You can see the coolness and the clarity of this stuff. Amazing. Really happy the way it worked out. And you know what, I had that good seal, and I guess I sanded it down so much that that seal's gone. But overall, you got the gist of what this is. So hope you liked the project. Hope it was entertaining. Total Boat Resin, totally recommend that. So anyway, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe, like it, share it, all that good shit. And see you guys in the next project.